I figured to start to get.
There's Lonnie.
And the Lonnie is gonna be in here.
And
Did you guys invite the
Yes,
new people?
yes, there's Doug.
There's no quorum list.
And then Jim,
That's 4 people, 5 people.
And that's all we need.
I believe Mike and Janice will be here also.
but I don't see.
Oh, there's Jim.
There's Jim.
And I don't mind delivering the cake,
Okay.
but I got a picture of it.
You're delivering it?
Yeah, I'll take it over there because he's not coming.
We're gonna,
Oh, to Jen or something?
we're gonna eat
Yeah.
it.
No, that's why I don't take what's left.
Is it a get well cake or something?
I go, what?
Get well cake?
Get well cake.
No, it's a thank you for your service.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Kat was a founding member.
Oh, it's for Cal. They were saying it's for Jen.
Well, Jim,
Oh,
Okay,
Jim
About the-
put in service too, and if you ever leave,
Yeah.
you'll get a cake.
what if
Yeah.
I,
not everybody got a cake.
No, not everybody. John left without a cake, Mark left without a cake.
We do have a quorum, Sarah.
Okay, we'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. Let's see. Tom, you want to lead us in the pledge allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Sorry, I realized I went out of order. My son's bugging me. Christine, will you do roll call, please?
Yeah, Sarah Thompson,
Here.
Kat Stone,
Here,
Jim Delat,
Here.
Lonnie Rango,
Here.
here,
Mike Baker, and Janice Baker are currently.
Okay, moving on to item 4, consent agenda. Has everybody had a chance to review the May 8th meeting minutes and the May preventative maintenance report?
I know.
Yeah, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve. This is Lonnie.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion by Lonnie and a second by Kat. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
I,
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Okay, moving on to Sherry and the financial report.
At this point, we should be using about 92% of our budget, so, payroll overall was at about 66% and materials and services is at 84.35, so we're still within our annual budget. Unless something catastrophic happens this month. We should be fine. We should finish up about where we need to be. Anybody have any questions about financial report? Yeah,
most of it's been covered up. Really.
yeah. A lot of it is the same, same reasons. Jim,
Where did the call center fuel go for?
excuse me?
There was like some fuel, not, I don't think it was last month, but this year, I think the call center did some travel and stuff. I was curious what, if they went to a conference or something.
Oh, Selena went to a conference.
Yeah.
Yeah, she went to Oklahoma CPA.
And she got certified to be a PASS trainer for passenger assistance, safety and sensitivity. So that gives us 2 certified trainers here on site. And that will alleviate any scheduling difficulties that we have going forward. So that's huge.
Past trainer. past
Yes.
Any other questions for Sherry? Take a motion to approve the financial report.
I'll second that.
Is that a motion by Mike?
Yeah.
Okay, motion by Mike, second by Kat. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Moving on to public comment for on agenda items only. Do we have any public comment, Christine?
We do have one public on there.
And there's Doug.
Is that the only public?
I
Yeah.
believe so.
He's muted though right now, looks like, right?
Okay, moving on to, I guess we don't have old business, so new business, 8.1, resolution 23-2. Canvassing the vote.
Yes, so on Douglas County special election that was held on May 16th to consider the election of FTD directors for positions 1, 2, and 3 was held. And so our board meets tonight to canvass the returns of that election. We did just receive those at like 4 o'clock this afternoon, the certified election results. And they are attached with the resolution and all of the results to the agenda item cover sheet. So what we would
This is
be,
the one from this afternoon that you sent out?
Yeah.
yes. Yes, apparently they're still recounting various different portions of the election.
Yeah, we were lucky that they had already recounted ours. I've been bugging him.
So this would just be review, discussion, and if you're satisfied with it, then a motion to approve resolution 23-2 canvassing the vote.
Move to approve resolution 23-2.
Make a motion.
That's a motion.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by Mike and a second by Tom to adopt resolution 23-2. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed?
How
Okay,
about
res-
I have to talk to my lawyer.
I got it.
Resolution passes. Moving on to 8.2, canceling the August meeting.
So what we realized as we were registering for the OTA conference, which this year has been combined with the Washington Transportation Conference. So it's going to be in Oregon, Washington, in Vancouver, combined what we would normally have through our OTA conference. So that happens August 12th through the 15th. Christine, myself, and I don't know if Sherry is going as well. We are all going to be at the conference, and so that was it was either cancel the meeting or figure out a time to reschedule it. And
In summer,
that's difficult in August, yes,
nothing critical.
No.
nothing critical.
You said the board could go to that too.
Yes, okay, so that's what I was trying to remember. Thank you for reminding me. It's like, there's more to this.
I was just saying, you guys should all be going too.
So, yeah, based on the situation that happened with the Tillamook County, the Oregon track of this conference is going to have some training that is specific to boards. What boards should be looking for so that we don't end up in a situation similar to what they're in.
That'll be done teams or so that's gonna be a hybrid training, right?
So I'm not sure, when you said hybrid, I was thinking the two combined, Washington and Oregon.
Oh.
But I don't know if they're actually gonna have
I
it.
saw something, maybe it was an email at work or something, but I thought I saw something that some of that training was gonna be offered virtually.
It
Yeah.
might be, yeah. So we only got a partial list of the classes that are gonna be offered. And they don't have those board trainings listed on the one that I received on Friday. But we'll keep you updated. The hotel blocks that they had arranged at the reduced rate have all been taken, so it would be kind of a find your own hotel kind of a thing.
Vancouver.
Vancouver, yes. Yeah, so the reason that we had recommended to cancel was simply because August is a difficult month to get everybody back together for a date they're not already planning to be.
So how do we find, how can we ourselves register for this?
Oh, I will forward that email to you.
Okay.
Yeah.
We have to go for the full 3 days.
No, you do not. I am actually gonna go up on Saturday and volunteer to judge in the bus rodeo.
They have some certifications and.
Yeah.
training, like the last half of the last day, or the first day, it's only like half a day, and that's all it is. It's kind of like
Okay.
certification or a general manager. Kind of, I mean, it's pretty,
Yeah, we're gonna have
it's
an,
really the 1 or 2 days, I think.
yeah, the OTA board meeting, I believe, happens on Sunday. Yeah, so, so yes, this would just be a motion to cancel or reschedule, whichever you choose.
Jennifer has her hand up.
Oh,
Yes, so there is no specific board training that I know of for the Washington conference, but there are going to be a lot of great classes that are going to be offered in regard to grant management training. We're going to have, there's 7 that we have from Oregon specific. And they're going to be mixed between Monday and Tuesdays. And those are going to be offered by Oregon PTD staff, a lot of them. And yeah, I think, was that the only other question you guys had and you weren't sure about?
Just what if it was a hybrid training?
Oh, it is not.
Okay.
It is not. Yeah, we asked that question as well because we were hoping to be able to offer this to everybody who does not go to the conference. But at this point in time, from what Angie Jones, she's our rep for coordination, they are not doing a hybrid option.
That's too bad. That'd be something nice to do in the future.
I think our conference, when we restart our conference, will be hybrid. But it will also drop the attendance of the conference. So that's something else that,
Well, yeah, I mean, but you just do certain sessions or certain things or,
yeah,
you know,
Even if
particularly
we
as
offered
board
every
related, would be. Because board members don't always attend
right,
those, and you get probably better participation from boards.
yes. And that's for not on agenda, that's what I need to remember.
Well, I'll make a motion to cancel the August meeting.
I have a motion by Mike and a second by Janice. Any further discussion? All in favor of canceling the August meeting, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. We will move on to 9.1 Project Next Door, Grant 35-335 and 5339 Capital.
Okay, so we are just kind of moving along slowly with the project next door. We did get the wetlands delineation report back, but I believe we had that before our last meeting, if I'm not mistaken. So I've probably already provided that information to you. There has been a request through City of Roseburg to do the right of way to continue it onto the property that we're looking at, but that's a right of way that was already put there, drawn in, like, I think they said 1999, something like that. It's been there for a long time. And it would not change our ability to deliver the project and then some. You know, it would still give us the space that we need. So IE Engineering has been in on the right of way piece with City of Roseburg. And I plan to meet with them either later this week or next week. We haven't got it on the calendar yet. We're just waiting for me to get back from vacation and decide what day is gonna work best. Next step is to get the pre-application conference on the agenda. Usually takes about 2 weeks for that to happen. Once we go through the pre-application conference and I get the feedback for whether or not the city of Roseburg sees our project as feasible and something that we can deliver on this property, and then submitting our NEPA application would be next. And then I would work with Jennifer Boardman and FTA to get the NEPA approved. And then we could move forward with talking to the real estate agent and at that point discuss a purchase price. But at this point, we're still in those preliminary steps. I do have an alternative property that I have looked at in the event that this does not work out, and that would be only about a mile up the road.
Are we
So
doing a delineation on that one too?
we would not have to do the delineation on that one because it,
No wetlands.
no,
What, how long does FTA take for NEPA?
it depends on how
Yeah,
many,
you're a planner.
pardon?
Sorry, yeah, you're a planner. That's the standard planner response.
Yes,
Thanks.
yep, I should have been talking to Stuart.
Kind of depends on where you fall in the
Sorry,
queue.
you just hit that code, that buzzword for me. Yeah.
So sometimes there are not a whole lot of projects that are in the queue
Yeah.
ahead of us, and sometimes they're like, when we went through before, it was probably 3 months before they even looked at our application.
There's another short staff like Federal Highway, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Jennifer has a direct line to somebody to work with on this, and they are aware of our situation and the way that our grant is written. And so, you know, if she can stick with the same person and get her foot in the door, we might be able to get it through quicker than we previously had done. So that kind of leads me to that date on the next project. So I don't even know how to say this one. So when we started into the Low-No project and looking at the lead times and project delivery for the chargers, they were talking basically a year for the order for the chargers, things of that nature. So we ordered the chargers, we signed the PO quite some time ago. I believe it was in October, which of course did not obligate us to take delivery. It just got the process moving. So they sent me an email saying that, surprise, surprise, things have happened much quicker than anticipated. And the delivery for the chargers is supposed to be July 24th. Which if we had still been on our other project timeline, we would have been jumping up and down for joy. Now I'm trying to figure out where are we gonna store these chargers?
What are they?
That's, I have that question out and I will get the answer in the meeting that I have scheduled for tomorrow. But I was stunned because they were not supposed to arrive until minimal
Oh, yeah.
October. And we were hoping to have them before the December timeline that we had originally talked about. Because we wanted to make sure we had them installed before we received the buses. So then in working with City of Sandy and looking at some issues that they are also having, we had looked at delaying the delivery of the buses because we weren't going to have the property and the chargers all ready in time for the buses. So we are delayed now out into springtime, March or April. And which is optimal for both of us to work on our project and at least get our chargers installed and move forward. Still just stunned.
I wonder if the city of Roseburg has any room at their public workshop.
I don't know. I just got this information today. So I was a little bit stunned. I've been working my way up through email and I hit that one and My mouth fell open literally. If the size is not too big, then we have the garage that is in the downstairs portion of the building here that we could definitely move things forward or back and get them in there. But it really depends on the size.
Yeah,
It
the
just
PR
don't-
person will just let us put them in there on. HR, the HR.
Oh, when we closed up the easy entry, we wouldn't be able to take chargers around the corners into the hallway. Yeah,
How big are they for a bus?
well, my understanding is that they would be almost as probably not quite as long as the table and about yay tall and about yay wide. They're massive. They're the size of a transformer. Yeah, so.
Tom doesn't know right off the top of your head,
No, I don't look into much of the electric stuff.
only hydrogen.
No,
No,
I mean, like we've talked about before, I like the overhead power stuff.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah, but that's.
we never
cost
talked about
prohibitive.
that.
Yeah, and also it's just, there's not a lot of manufacturers. There are some that do smaller buses, but there's
Yeah,
a lot more going on, like there's different types of streets. You know, some are owned by the state, some by the city and stuff, county, and then you
yeah.
have to get all the approval, and then all the people have to agree to want to have all those lines everywhere and stuff. So it's kind
Yeah.
of tricky.
Yeah,
It's a lot easier if you just have a vehicle that can just drive around, doesn't leave anything
It's
there.
hard for a rural system to have the densities. to
for that,
do that,
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so those are really the extent of my updates on the two properties. We're just slowly trudging forward on the process to be able to find out whether or not we can purchase. And then surprise, surprise, we have chargers coming next month.
Or,
Well, I mean, if you have room to store them, that's great,
Yeah,
really.
Yeah.
It's not gonna be one of those significant pieces that's gonna hold you back on your timeline.
right, which is what we had been concerned about before. So now we know as soon as we have the property and the contractor lined up, that can be one of the first things that we do after, running utilities and preparing the ground is installing the chargers and then building the building around it.
Do you know what the name of the manufacturer is?
For the charger?
Yeah.
I would have to look that up. I know that
I'm curious.
the bus manufacturer is Proterra, but I do
Kat,
not.
you want to look into it more?
He'll be an expert by next month, yeah.
okay, I'll leave it in his hands.
So
Any
that's
other-
all. I have on that. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, any other questions for Cheryl on those?
Not
Okay,
related to-
so, oh,
this-
go ahead.
This property, there's still plans for something over here, right?
So we can develop that property. We just cannot use federal
Okay.
funds on it.
Yeah, that's-
So, that's something to look at in the future. Definitely, we can utilize it or sell it, one or the other, but we just can't use federal funds on it. Okay, general manager report, did we put one in here? Except we put them on not on agenda.
I did get them to action.
Oh, we forgot to, yeah.
Yeah, I
Okay.
just read your email, Christine, I'm sorry.
no worries.
I opened the
It's-
attachments and didn't read what came with it, so.
It's okay, I
That's on me.
forgot
I looked
So-
and looked and looked and couldn't find it, but I just decided it was you.
Mine was right. Last page.
That's the
on
last, very last page.
Under
yeah.
here.
Right there.
Oh, thank you.
So we successfully transferred the Mercy contract over to they're under our operation now. We have all three of the vehicles. They've been checked for the preventive maintenance. They're in service. We hired two of their drivers and another driver that is now trained. And so those vehicles are all out on the road. And They're actually in use a little bit more now than they were as Mercy vehicles because they had some days that they had one in service and some days they had two in service and some days they had three in service. So now they're all three in service every day except for Saturday.
Excellent.
So, and we did get an update from Northwest Bus. And two of our vans are in process. They're supposed to receive them there to Northwest Bus sometime, but they said the middle of this month. We're kind of in the middle of this month already. So they had intended to deliver them to us by the end of the month, but it's looking like it would probably be July instead. Yeah.
What size of those ones?
So they haven't been able to confirm that for me. Very interesting when this, yeah,
They just keep adding more.
yeah, I don't know if it's gonna be the Class D buses and have 16 passengers, or if it's gonna be an 8-passenger, a 10-passenger.
How many Lego parts came in?
Yeah, they just, everything has been so vague, and they said that a lot of information they don't get until the manufacturer actually provides the.
So they're just delivering from the manufacturer.
So they get it from the manufacturer and then they add like the lift and the video cameras, things of that nature.
Do your paint job and.
Mhm. They also ran into an issue with the strobing brake lights. That apparently the Ford OEM brakes won't work with the strobe light. They work kind of backwards. So they couldn't make them work. They spent like 25 hours trying to figure out what the issue was, and it came down to the OEM would have to reprogram some of the software that is their standard software, and they're not willing to do that, of course. So they're gonna put the strobe portion of the lights in the bumper, similar to what we have on a couple of our buses. So not a bad thing. I actually think it works better there myself, but yeah, they spent quite a bit of time trying to figure out how to make it work. So we did also get the updated version of the grant, the amendment that allowed us to move where the money is going to be spent so that we can utilize the bids that we previously received. All three of the companies that bid have stated that the bid is still good. So we'll be putting that order in this week for the grant number 35326. And that is for, I believe, 5 vans and 1 bus.
So the quotes were still good.
Yep, still good. Oh yeah, they weren't good when I started this. I didn't know if they were still good. Yeah. We did also get the data cables dropped into the office that we created downstairs. So next step is to put a recruitment for an HR specialist out. And we're making progress, a little bit sure.
Got a place to put on?
And we have Sherry trained to do quarterly reports now. So
She loves it.
she does.
I would love it even more next with the new biennium.
Standing on her head.
So it took me a minute to shift gears and get the appropriate mindset to audit instead of try to redo it and see if it matched.
So you're the key or whatever, I
Yeah.
can't remember what it's called now, but
The keyword, yeah, that's me. Yeah, so it's been really good so far because when I go in with that auditor's brain instead of the how do we make this all put together, I see different things. So we were able to talk about a number of things that helped me understand Sherry's brain a little bit better, which we just do things from two different directions, but we come up with the same answer. So that was interesting to figure that out. And then I'm sure it'll go much smoother this time. We have our final report. We're gonna get in this week. So we will be caught up and ready to roll forward. Any questions on any of the rest of the stuff that we have on there?
I was gonna mention I can't remember if I sent you an email on this one. I was going to, and I don't know if I did, but the carbon reduction grant application that you filled out for the commercial fleet fueling project. There's another federal grant out there specific to alternate forms of fueling. So I don't know if I sent it, but I can't, if it's out or it's about to come out. I think it's about to come out.
Okay,
So I'll shoot that over to you. So there might be
Okay.
something there, and because I know one of the things in there they were talking about, they were looking was the hydrogen fuel cell and the hydrogen fuel cell or hydrogen combustion.
Mhm.
Um,
So the one that I submitted was for the R99 fuel, the R99 diesel, because in order to get funded on these grants, you have to hit specifically what they're looking for. And honestly, what they're looking for is charging infrastructure, but it doesn't state that. What it states is they're looking for an immediate sustainable. Oh. Still have vacation alarms set. Oh boy, that really threw me for a loop. So measurable, sustainable, immediate drops in greenhouse gas. And so the way that that can be achieved without replacing our fleet and without being dependent on electricity, and wondering whether or not the grid is actually going to hold up for this project, is the R99 fuel. Because R99 fuel goes into the vehicle same as the regular diesel does, but it burns with a carbon footprint this equivalent to natural gas or electricity.
Oh, wow.
It's like the 0.8.
Does it require any special modifications to an engine or?
Nada. No, and it also then it causes an immediate reduction in the preventive maintenance costs. Because you're no longer clogging up all of the DEF system and the DPF filter, all that stuff with the junk, and right now, those are the preventive maintenance costs that are just going through the roof. I just approved one.
Are those costs, so is the cost for the R99 fuel less, including the less preventive maintenance? Is that less than the cost of just doing business as usual, regular diesel?
So the R99 is an equivalent cost, within a few cents.
A regular diesel?
Mhm. But to get it delivered in bulk is also, that's an immediate reduction in cost. So I built that first tank of fuel into the cost of the grant. Because the turnkey setup, once we have the pad set up and everything ready to go, then they can bring it in and install it and drop the fuel into it same day. And so it's like you drop it, secure it, fill it, and you're ready to go.
How often do they have to fill is it underground or above ground?
It's above ground.
How often do they have to fill it?
What would depend on how many gallons of fuel that we use. And right now with 14 vehicles that run on diesel. So I would have to reverse engineer that thought. So right now, when the fuel prices went up, we went up to about 36,000. I think that was 36,000 a month on fuel. So at, basically $4 a gallon, a little bit less. So
1,000 gallons.
it's something like that, I imagine. I'm not that, I would have to do it on
What time is it?
Absolutely.
42.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, that's what we run a month total, though. That includes our gas,
How big is the tank?
Yeah, it can't hold
12,000.
gas.
Yeah.
No.
It's almost a month's worth. Yeah.
Yeah, so the project, I wrote it for 12,000 gallon tanks so that we would have a reserve.
Yeah.
And it also includes
That way if costs
the,
go up or they're up temporarily, you could start feeding off of that for a little bit and hopefully
yeah,
lower cost.
and then the 500 gallon DEF tank as well. Because whether we use R99 or not, you still have to put the DEF in the system now, so.
Will the tanks be able to have other diesel in them if you weren't able to, or decide not to get the R99
Yes, they would hold regular
with
diesel.
no like cleaning or anything necessary? Okay,
No, intermingle it, it's good.
where does the R99 come from?
Carson is the closest,
They get delivered.
yeah, they do the delivery. And, you
That coming
know,
out of Portland?
I
yeah,
mean, Oregon used to have biodiesel plants, I don't know if they still do.
yeah, I don't know if they still do either. I know that some of it comes from like a palm oil. Yeah, but as I understand it, it can also come from corn. So it's just that second refining that
Corns
does,
definitely have a higher emission as far as carbon, because it's not that much oil in corns, that's more of ethanol.
is it?
So if they produce biodiesel from that, that really spike the emissions of
So I would need to go and
Yeah.
read more.
soybean, usually it's the legumes. Other stuff like that, or just vegetable oil, you can recycle that,
Yeah,
Yeah.
why are we using palm at all? We
I don't
don't grow palm.
I don't know.
because it's cheap.
Well, it's bad. I'm gonna say, what happened
Well, I'm
to the
not a big fan
sunset
of biodiesel
thing?
either, so.
So anyway,
Or ethanol.
that would be the, a portion of the property development, and that I fed all of those plans over to IE Engineering so that they could, you know, put together a plan that looks appropriate. But we were just talking about it today, and if you entered on that bottom level, and that would be the smart place to put fuel, you know, as you enter, and then as you come up, if the corner of the property is not usable due to the right of way, then put the bus wash on the next level, which is kind of this level, the same level as this building, only catty corner that way. And then,
Doug has a question too.
where,
Where?
Sorry, has her hand up.
oh, so it is not difficult to procure. The question is, why are we looking at difficult to procure fuel while empty buses are running all day long?
Husband does.
Oh, Doug, okay. Sorry. I thought that was from Sarah.
No, Sarah has her hand up.
Okay. I should probably let Sarah go.
No, I just, I'm switching over to my ODOT hat. Cheryl, can you send me a copy of your CRP application? I'm the gatekeeper for all of the Region 3 carbon reduction program applications.
I can do that, yes.
Thank you.
And then I believe that the questions that are in the chat would be for
Public comment.
public comment.
Okay.
Yes, instead of the discussion.
Yeah,
up
but the
here.
thing with the R99 that had to do with being able to get a grant more easily, right?
Pardon?
Initially, didn't you say something about having the R99 reduce your carbon emissions so you get a grant? So I don't know if you want to return to that.
Oh, well, so yeah, that's the grant that I applied for.
Yeah, so that's kind of like intent. If you get that fueling thing, that would help you be able to get that grant potentially, right? Or you already have it?
I applied for the grant. I don't know if we're gonna get it.
Okay,
Yeah,
but
but
that
it's
could
first
help
step.
though. If that was there.
It would be part of our design that we're working on.
Okay, so it wouldn't aid in getting the grant, just be related to. Okay,
And it gets us in step with everybody else going forward.
Mhm.
I mean, because that's the direction that the world is going.
Well,
Yeah.
we have a requirement to reduce emissions from the state.
Yeah,
So
whether
we're
we
we're
agree with it
required
or
to do
not.
some stuff.
Yeah, it is the way to go. So.
When do
I'm
I
sorry.
get to ask about Astoria and Sunset and what happened? Because I have been looking to find what is going on with their program.
So we still do not know exactly what happened. We haven't got they're doing a forensic audit.
So
What we-
they're just not providing services?
Oh, no, ODOT got them back up and
Okay,
running
I didn't see that anywhere.
like a week later. They came to their board and said, we recommend that we shut services down this week. We are out of money. And they continued running for another week and then realized that they were completely out of money and they shut down like the following day. And so beyond that, we don't know how they got there. They're doing a forensic audit.
Absolutely, because it's ridiculous. It's crazy that I couldn't see that happening to us.
Well, so there are a number of things that could happen, and that's why we want the board to be fully informed, you know. It's possible that their bookkeeper or financial analyst, financial manager didn't have the appropriate level of training and understanding for government grants. We just don't know. So rather than guess at what it was, we just need to wait for the
It's
findings.
just
to come.
painful to not know.
It
I'm
is.
sure it'll be in the news and stuff.
Well, it should have been in the
Yeah,
news
it was-
already.
well, once they get
was-
More.
There was an article about it.
Well, there was one.
No, there was not.
Couple.
You can look up in the Northern Oregon papers, a bunch of local papers up there. I think it might have been Portland Tribune. I covered it.
But that's why we started offering the bank statement, you know, as something that you can look at hand in hand with our financial statement, so that you can see this is how much money we actually have in the bank, you know.
And even if you're familiar with government accounting, you know, like for a city or a county and things like that, public transit
It's
is a whole different level.
Because it's.
Because of all the
about
grants.
and-
Exactly.
And all that, so I just wondered how it could possibly be, you wake up one day and Cheryl calls and says, we don't have any money in the bank, we can't pay the drivers. Because we don't have that.
I feel like there's pretty clear with our financial statements, what's in the bank.
Yeah, I can't see that happening to us.
I mean, there'd have to be a major expense.
But somebody should have been able to see it coming, that's just, so I will await the forensic audit results and I will read the northern papers, or maybe I'll just go over there.
Yeah.
I've got all this free time now, one day a month.
Okay, any more questions for Cheryl? We will move on
Oh.
to, oh, go ahead, Kat.
It does have handle determination for cause,
Oh,
but there are 3 or just 2.
there were 3 total terminations, one
okay.
for cause, one because they
Left for school.
Got another job and one went to school,
yes,
but I couldn't tell if there were 2 or 3.
there were 3.
Okay,
Yeah, so
kind of normal.
unusual for us to have 3 terminations in 1 month.
Well, that one for cause, that was.
Yeah.
And June is just,
It's just a lot of work when you have something go that direction.
and we didn't have an HR person.
Not yet.
So
I
we all
am
had to
still
do
your
that.
HR person. Yeah.
We need one.
Yeah, exactly. Okay,
Okay, we will move on to the ODOT update with Jennifer.
Yes, hello, everyone, and welcome to summer. I have a listing of some of the classes, and I can send that to Cheryl to send to you. They posted a short list of classes that they'll have at the conference. They don't have descriptions yet, which they gave us a limit of 50 words per description, which is going to be really difficult to try to get a description in there with only 50 words. But some of the ones that we are providing are human trafficking. We're doing a grant management class, equity and mobility, compliance specifically. We're doing the compliance kind of in light of Sunset Empire. We are also doing some information about NEPA. So we have solicitations, capital funding, procurement, and NEPA. Oh my, is the name of the title. It should be very exciting. We are also going to be offering a program with Ryan Phillips, who is our new climate specialist, and he's going to be providing a session in coordination with Drew on how to best apply for the 5339 grants that are coming up next year. So we really, we saw a lot of applications, and we typically get notification about these grants probably about 3 weeks before we have to make it mandatory for our providers to get the information to us. So what we're hoping to do by offering this session is provide all of the providers with an opportunity to get stuff ready to go. And so when that grant hits next February, because we never know exactly when it's going to hit, they'll be ready to go. All they have to do is take their information and complete that application. So that's our hope by offering this session. We're also going to be providing some information about our transportation options programs, some of the multimodal, other multimodal programs that we have through ODOT, as well as our micromobility and first last mile. So it should be some great sessions that we have. In addition, I just want to make sure and remind our providers, what I've been sending out is that we are having a discretionary solicitation for the remaining COVID funding. And it sounds like Susan Wilson George was able to get that application into the FTA. So it does sound like we are going to get the funding, because at one point in time, the FTA was saying there's a possibility of it being clawed back, but it sounds like we do have that. So that's a good thing. And there's about $8 million in that for COVID operations only funding. We are working really hard to try to get all of our 5310 and 5311 agreements back in-house so that we can get those executed, so those funds can be available on July 1. And then we're hopeful that Karen's going to be in the office for the last week of June so that we have all of those agreements out the door. We also are in need of agencies to resubmit any of your audits and your budgets from 21, 22, and then submitting your budget for 23. So I was going to be getting in contact with you, Sherry, to see if I could have you send those to me. With our change in, we've had a lot of turnover at PTD, and the individuals that was keeping track of all of that had that in their drives. And so we're needing agencies to resubmit that. So if we could get that by, I think he's trying to have that by the middle of July. Excuse me. One other thing I wanted to let people know about is the drug and alcohol training. We have drug and alcohol training in both Bend and Salem. It's the end of July, July 25th and 26th in Bend, and then 27th and 28th in Salem. And that is required for people who are 5311 or 5339 recipients. And let's see, what other fun things. We do have quite a bit of RTAP scholarships. So if you are interested in having folks go to the OTA conference or the drug and alcohol conference, you can apply for those scholarships because you qualify for rural transit provider. And right now we're offering those scholarships at 100% scholarships. So, and that's not typical, but we have a lot of money because we did not have conferences for a couple of years. So we have some money, some excess money that allows you to get to that. Marcia Hoskins is back as the interim policy and implementation manager. Susan Peichman moved to a new position. And then we have several positions. If you know anybody who's looking for spots in ODOT, we have several positions open. Right now we have 10 positions, as a matter of fact, out of our 37 people that are open. So we're looking for a few good men and women who could fill in all those wonderful spots at ODOT. And I think that that's all I have. Any questions? I left you speechless. Wow.
Thank you, Jennifer. So with that, we will move on to not on agenda. And the first thing we have is updated grant agreements that we need to review and approve. Is that right?
Yes. And the 5310 is slightly different than what went through the stack. Only in that we had to remove the allocation that was originally for Mercy. And so what we did is we applied that funding to the call center, and we could only apply it to things that we had already moved through the public process of the staff meeting and through the board. So so that's why we have the numbers that we do, mobility management and contracted services. Oh. So Jennifer, the numbers on this 5310 grant are the numbers from prior to the conversation that you and I and Drew had regarding where.
Okay, well, we will, I gave Bianca the information, so, okay,
Okay.
I will.
We had dropped that one down to, I believe it was
Do you have the numbers?
not on me. I believe that was a total of 60,000 for the contracted service though, to cover City of Reedsport. And the mobility management was the rest. So there wasn't a third one in there, I don't think. I'll send you the numbers.
I only think you on mine.
Yeah, I see two on mine. There's the subtotal and the grand total.
It's contracted services and mobility management, 5310 only, and then 5302.
Right, but the total amount.
It should be, let's see,
Mm,
517, 274 and 400, right? No, that was Mercy.
That was Mercy. Mhm. It was supposed to be 60
Yeah.
for the total on the contracted service. Yeah.
Instead of 45,000.
Bet you Drew forgot to change it on his funding log.
So are we not gonna be able to do it? Because we don't have the right numbers.
No, we can just modify it.
We can.
Yeah.
Right here and now.
It's still
The
the,
dollar total is the same, it's the allocation.
It's the
that's all you're
allocations
talking
that are
about.
different.
yes. I don't think that it will come up on this. But it was Drew or right?
So it's 60,000 here and then the other 340,000.
I believe so,
adds to the-
yeah.
So it's just this.
So we're really not talking about the agreement portion, we're talking about the exhibit.
Yeah, exhibit A.
References.
Right, so what we had come up with was, the change was to actually, were we able to keep the preventive maintenance?
Yes.
Okay, so the numbers are 60,000 for purchase service, and that is for the contract with City of Reedsport. 782,217 for mobility management. And then preventive maintenance for 75,000. So that was the end result of. And those are whole numbers. That's not split out between the grant amount and the match amount. That's the total project amount. For maybe that isn't the match amount. 917,274 is what that comes out to. And this was the communication between Drew Orr, who is the contact at ODOT, and Jennifer and myself when we found out about the termination of the contract with Mercy.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So that's the amount of the grant, and to that you'd have the different
match.
matches.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But the totals don't change.
No.
No.
So we're only agreeing to the totals.
And the agreement is the total, and it just shows how it's broken out in the exhibit.
Mhm. So we'll have 3 items instead of 2.
So really the motion would probably be to approve it with the amended exhibit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, that's a good way to motion it.
Was that a motion?
Sure, I guess we'll do one at a time here with this. So I'll move to approve agreement number 35502 for 5310 with the amended exhibit A.
I'll second that.
You have a motion by Mike and a second by Kat. Any further discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion passes. Moving on to grant 35437.
37 for 5311. And this is a total project amount of 1,723,691. And it's split out into the project admin, operating, and preventive maintenance. And these are the numbers that were presented and forwarded to you for approval from the staff committee. And then approved so that we could put them in the budget. So these are the numbers that we have in the budget.
No
Yeah.
changes,
No
modifications.
changes.
I'll move to approve agreement number 35437. 5311 capital operating fund agreement.
I'll second that motion.
I have a motion by Mike and a second by Tom. Any further discussion on that agreement? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. We will continue with any other not on agenda items.
Awards. Oh, yes. Do you have them?
Yes, I do. Potential for training in September.
Oh, I have something too.
Okay.
I get emails from SDAO.
Special
I
districts.
signed up for trainings on there, so I just wanted to confirm with you guys about those.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Not just okay, but we're really excited to hear that.
Okay.
You're such an apple polisher.
What?
Apple polisher.
They have a conference or is it just classes they offer? Honestly?
They do have a
They do have
conference.
conferences. Just let us know.
Yeah, I think I signed up for leadership. Program.
Yeah, I did too. They give you 3 years to do it. So we put together, it was actually, Mike had a really good idea. We've got a recognition award presented to Kat Stone in sincere appreciation for your dedicated service to Umpqua Public Transportation District as a founding director. Your contribution was critical to our success December of 2018 to June 2023.
Do I have to stand? Thank you. Don't act like I'm dead, because I'm not gone away.
Sitting right over there.
We also have the same award for Jim Delap, only he was not a founding member. In sincere appreciation for the dedicated service to Umpqua Public Transportation District. Your contribution was critical to our success, and that's August of 2022 to June of 2023. So Jim, you did fill a gap that we did not know how it was going to get filled in.
Jim was also on our budget committee.
Yes.
For that, so, yeah.
Yes.
We aren't taking up the drawers, we're in the building to put them on for posterity.
Continue that while we want to.
Yeah. Right next to Mike's.
Yeah. We can if you want to.
Yeah. That was my suggestion. I'm sorry I didn't make it very boardroom.
So would you rather have it here than go with you?
Absolutely.
Oh.
And I think future board members should get to look at it.
That's all we have.
Any other NOAs? Okay,
Oh, okay. Yeah, hey, public comment.
okay, we will move on to item 13, public comment.
And since I'm the only public here.
Well, that Doug had his up there too.
Has
Oh, okay.
Doug's question. Like, why are we looking at difficult to procure fuel while empty buses are running all day long? And where is it coming from and at what increased expense?
Yeah.
So that is all research that I would have to go back in and look at where it's coming from. I know that the deliverer of the fuel would be Carson, and they are local. They're primarily out of Eugene now, but they are providing the R99 fuel at a bulk rate. So the reason that we're looking at it is there's the requirement to reduce emissions. This allows us to reduce emissions without having to replace our entire fleet, and it's an immediate reduction. And it also has been proven to reduce the preventive maintenance costs, which for us, since the supply chain issues have come into effect and the whole COVID thing, our preventive maintenance costs have gone through the roof. So
this would help with all.
yes,
Good thing.
yes.
You
And
might save the planet.
the model for this fuel and the same type
No,
of
we're going to hell.
engines that we're using would be Portland, is the Portland,
Most of our fuel comes from the Portland fuel.
well, no, the model agency, they were the first to
Oh,
put it
China.
into,
Trump.
no, the trash people, the garbage.
Oh,
company.
waste management.
Yes, so they actually.
We're getting there.
Charades.
Thank you for waiting.
Oregon.
Garbage.
So, sorry about that, Mike. We would not go there.
It's
bigger
than.
So they saw an immediate decrease in their preventive maintenance costs. That was so incredible that you'd have to read the article that was written about it. And I could forward that to you because I have your email address now. Yeah. So that's why we're looking at it. It's a way to move forward for something that will benefit us in a way that we choose to, instead of a way that we're forced to.
Hopefully they continue to allow people to use diesel.
Yeah, well, that's the R99 diesel.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So roughly the same cost. maybe less with the preventive maintenance when you throw that into.
Yes, if our preventive maintenance cost is cut in half, that's the tune of 30,000 a quarter.
Those were all questions. My recent comments were just to thank Kat for her service.
Oh, yeah. Thanking Kat for your
Oh.
service.
We just want to make sure we addressed them, Doug.
All right.
Okay,
Okay. I'm here to provide a narrative that needs to be told. So I work with several agencies. Umpqua Valley Disabilities Network, in this case, also works with Sunrise Enterprises. We are a training site for people who are trying to learn how to work and actually get a paid job. So most of these folks are dependent on mass transit or dial-a-ride because most of these folks are people with disabilities. And I actually have a story to tell about one of my new hires, a person with a cognitive disability who's on income limitations because of her disability. And she's able to work, but it's a tightrope. Because you can only work so much and then you start losing benefits. And for them, it's Medicare, Medicaid are the big ones. So we have to keep a careful look on just that. So it doesn't help when transportation is picking my person up so early that they get to be dropped off at Bagel Tree because they didn't want to be in front of the office so early. So she could get herself some breakfast and walk the 4 or 5 blocks to get to our office and still be there early. And then our area is also not very safe at any point in time during the day. So we're leaving people like her set up in a not so good environment. And it's all because the transportation's not running efficient. And the more I talked to her, she said that they were making exceptions and they were supposed to forgive them and just comply. And I'm thinking, well, why didn't you stick up for yourself? Why didn't you say, I need to be at work by 8 o'clock? Why am I getting dropped off at 7? So there's still a lot more things that need to get checked on as far as overall performance of this program. Now, I hear about environmental factors. I even heard that with the state plan, because I'm on one of the committees for that too. And I heard lots about environmental features and factors. But I had to point out to even them, you need to write what you're going to be doing with people with disabilities and aged, and they didn't put much in their plan on that. So they said they were going to go back and change it. It's in draft form, so they're needing to change it. But on a local level, it seems that we're seeing some of the same things. I want to make sure that people with disabilities are getting a fair shake, that they're not being considered second class. And I was going to have a representative from Sunrise Enterprises here, but unfortunately, I guess they couldn't make it. Otherwise, they would have added to the story as well. But I wanted to make sure that this is a concern. This is probably not the only one, and this is not the only time. So I understand that there's challenges with trying to transition MTM out and Bay Cities in. The other thing that she also seemed to know is that Bay Cities was now transporting her. And she was a little happier with that. So she's savvy enough, she knows what's going on. She capitulated and allowed to be pushed down on the totem pole to get second class service.
So is she riding dial-a-ride or is she doing?
Yeah,
No,
confused.
that's the other thing. It should have been dial-a-ride. However, she was getting charged for paratransit at 7 and 8 o'clock in the morning.
So
And she was
Well, I'm just confused now. I read the third one, but you were talking about basically a brokerage, which is like a TransLink or whatever they
Well,
call it.
I'm not
now.
trying to explain how.
I'm just trying to
this
understand
works.
what it was that
What
she
I'm
accessed.
saying is what I got from her, and what I'm hearing is that she should be on Dial-A-Ride. Yet she's still paying $2 each way to get second-class service on top of that. That's $4 round trip. And she's getting picked up way too early and getting also picked up way too early.
Are these independent contractors that we're talking about?
So if they're riding on paratransit, if they live within the paratransit service area, which is 3/4 of an air mile from the Roseburg, Sutherland and Winston fixed routes. It's a 28-mile corridor now that goes all the way from Sutherland to Winston. And it's, if they live within that corridor or within 3/4 of an air mile of the fixed route, which runs hourly, the federal regulation requires that it be paratransit. That's why we had to separate the paratransit service area and the Dial-A-Ride service area. Dial-A-Ride is provided in the rural areas that are outside of the paratransit service area. So the fact that she's getting charged $2 is because she lives within the paratransit service area and she is paratransit
Well, I
qualified.
would like to point that I vehemently disagree with that kind of policy. That is not okay. She's ambulatory. She does not need paratransit. She's paying for a specialized van with a wheelchair lift. She does not need it, yet she's still paying for it. And
Can she
Dial,
ride the regular bus?
but she pays for tickets.
So since we're in a board meeting, I just was wondering, have you brought this up to staff before, or is this just coming up for the first time at a board meeting?
This is the first time that it's come up
This happened recently.
recently.
Yeah, she complained to you or,
Well, actually, she had talked to Sunrise and her job coach. And from there, we had a group discussion.
I'm just wondering if it had been, since we're more of a policy board, I'm just wondering if the discussion would be better had at a staff level. So that you work with our staff
Yeah,
to, just to, come to, so you guys understand what's going on and how things work or what the needs are. And instead of,
because
Well,
we're just a
here's
policy. board.
my stance on this though, okay? SDF funding was what started this whole transportation program here locally. And it started with the county, and then it's traveled since then. Now, special transportation funds are now incorporated into the STIF. Great, innovation's nice, but that can get lost when you're trying to provide some core services and supports for people with disabilities. And people who are aged, who also have disabilities. So it's not okay, it's never been okay. And the whole thing with the fee for service stuff, I mean, all you have to do is understand if they're on income limits, if they're on special supports, if they're ambulatory, they don't need certain things, but they are still on limited income. And if this is how you treat one of my staff, this is probably how you're treating some of my mom's elderly friends and things like that, getting around to and fro. And they don't know any better, but it's still not okay.
I have a question. So you're talking about why it is the way it is for her. And those regulations are like federal
They're
regulations
at a
that
federal
we
level.
have no control over.
No.
I see. Okay, that's what I was wondering. It's like how, I mean, what could we do if it's a federal thing? I mean,
Well,
there's not
in
much.
addition, at the state level, we had a site review where they looked at our compliance with state and federal regulations. in that site review, they pointed out that the Dial-A-Ride and the paratransit services were running on top of each other and in competition with each other.
So they had to separate them
Yes.
somehow.
And because in order to, what we do for one, we do for all, is
Right.
what the slogan is for transit, you know, for public transit. It doesn't matter if you're dressed in a $1,000 dress or if you're homeless, what we do for one, we do for the other,
Right.
always. And so in the paratransit service area, it is designed, or it is defined in the federal statutes as a minimum of 3/4 of an air mile from the hourly fixed route service within the county or the district or whatever area that we're looking at. And because we improved the service level to City of Sutherland and City of Winston, our paratransit service area also increased. What that means is that's a guaranteed ride. So if they call 24 hours in advance, they're guaranteed to get a ride, and we are required, and our dispatchers are trained to negotiate a pickup time. If they say, I have to be to work at 8 o'clock, then what we can do is negotiate a pickup time. But it has to be reasonable. And it has to get them there
Well,
at an
clearly,
appropriate
my
time.
idea of what's reasonable is not your idea of what's reasonable.
That's not true.
So that's, so.
No, I would actually
What I would,
agree that
what I would ask is that you provide me some details. The person's name, not here in an open forum, but if you could send me an email with the person's name and the days that they ride and what their destination is, what their origin and destination are. I can look the rides up and figure out what's going on, who's scheduling them, what errors there might need to be corrected. There's a lot that we can do to correct the situation. So, but I have to know about it in order to be able to address it with my staff.
Yeah, and I just wonder if we don't need a case management system. Because if everybody, this is one person that just has
the
one
Dial-A-Ride
person to
system
speak for.
tracked all that before. And
Mhm.
it-
All the girls have
and
the
it
switchboard.
covered within Douglas County proper.
Mhm.
And it was a benefit. Now, the fact that it was relegated to rural areas only, you're basically subjugating it to an area that's.
But that's not us,
used
that's the
much.
federal government.
I'm sorry, I don't care what the federal government says.
Well, that's-
At this point.
We're a policy group here. We
Well, you
can't-
got a bunch of people dying out there and you're just gonna say, well, the feds made us do it.
Well, the thing is, Cheryl
No.
is going to come up with a solution.
There are some other
For this.
solutions that a lot of different agencies in our area utilize.
Right,
And that they purchase tickets or passes. The bus passes for a person with a disability has been dropped to $12.50 a month. So if you were able to purchase a pass for them and they're able to utilize the regular system, then that's an option there that would get them to on one end, on Lane Street at the church, which is about 1.5 blocks from your office, or on the other end would be Washington and Road. Is also probably more like 2 blocks from your office. So that's an option. So there's lots of options that we can brainstorm, but I need a little more information to be able to put something out there that's really, you know, obviously gonna work for them. And I'm more than willing to do that with you. Selena, our dispatch supervisor, is amazing at getting these things resolved. So, that's what we need though, is we need somebody to contact us with the information so that we can resolve it at a
I am
business level.
contacting you right now.
Okay, but I
Well,
can't do
it's
anything
not
for
really-
you right now.
it's, yeah.
But tomorrow, when I have information from you, I can assist you. That's the challenge with bringing it to the board, is because I can't assist you from here. I can't access the information. I can't look it up in the system. So, but at a business level, you can bring that. to
At a systems level, I think there's some things that really need to get reworked policy wise from the federal down.
Well,
I think there's some concerns about how they treat people. This is supposed to be a people mover system,
mhm.
not a fuel, economics system or an environmental factor system. The core of this is moving people effectively.
Correct.
And what I'm seeing, what I'm hearing is it's not effective.
Well, we saw that back when we lost all of you guys as providers
Mhm.
because the federal government said that we had to do it this way. And I said then, the federal government doesn't know how to run rural anything. And so we need a caseworker system. You need to talk to Cheryl. You need to just ferret out who are the other people that need a caseworker system. And start putting that in order, put that working.
Aren't you a
Find out who.
caseworker?
No, I'm the executive director of my agency.
Okay,
I hired this person and I'm looking
UGDN,
out for this person. And as someone who would be considered in a vulnerable class of people,
Mhm.
it's not okay. And I'm very passionate about this, which is why I get a little verklempt as I'm trying to talk. But,
My sister is just like that person.
I'm
Yeah.
trying.
So I
Yeah.
understand, it. I know exactly what you're talking
Trying to
about.
keep
Matt.
my cool and trying to still be effectively speaking here.
Yeah.
But part of me wants to throttle somebody
Yeah.
too.
I understand the frustrations.
Yeah.
We work within the colors of money that we're provided to do as much as we can. But I think it's more beneficial of all of our time for you to really do that outside of a board meeting and have that conversation with staff so that you guys can have that back and forth and figure out solutions.
So.
Because we're not gonna figure that out here, but we
It
appreciate.
shouldn't have to be.
understand
us
your
figuring
frustration.
This out though.
Yeah.
We're more than willing to help. However.
Well, she
there needs-
has to know, right? So she has to know what it is. And so if you're having an issue, to
But if
somebody,
you're
it helps
taking
her to know.
people and picking them up on paratransit, you should know it's something a little bit about who you're picking up.
Yeah.
And that should be some basic stuff. So if they're ambulatory, if they're on income limits, just something
we
enough
don't-
where
We
they.
don't have a screening process, Matt, but
Yeah.
you're welcome to call me and talk to me anytime and I'll shake something somewhere.
Mhm.
You know, I'm gonna have a lot of free time now.
Before the dial rate system, we had the
Mhm.
shared communication between the providers. It worked very well. It was a team function.
It was smaller and the switchboard, they knew who the people were that were writing, and if somebody didn't call for a day or two, they sent somebody out to check on them. It was real rural.
And the current assumption is the same, is that the dispatch people should have a knowledge base, some basic knowledge of who they're picking up and transporting.
And I think the numbers are
They do.
bigger, or we need a case manager, caseworker. So look at that stuff.
The call center is.
So Cheryl, if you could just work, maybe just work with
Yeah.
Matt tomorrow, figure that out.
There's several
As a
call centers, right?
disabled person myself, I understand, and having people I take care of that could use, I mean, I totally get it, and I think, it's better just to work one-on-one with Cheryl to help, because she's the one that knows so much that would be able to solve the problem faster than we can as a board, really.
I mean, you can
So-
email. Board member, like
Yeah.
Public can always email us and then we could grant
Yeah,
uh contact and representatives with them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's always best to try to work at a staff level first.
Yeah.
To try to get something done, and if you're just not having success, then that's when I think you go to a board, but it just kind of,
If it
it's
gets,
kind of odd to just go to a
yeah,
board,
if
you
it
know?
gets to my level, then this is where I go.
oh, well, it's best
There's
to
also
go to
really
Cheryl
recent as
first,
well, right? So.
like you said, it's best
That
to go
means
to
it
staff
should, it
first.
should have already been dealt with at the staff level before it came to me.
well,
They have to know.
They didn't know.
No, she knew what was going on. She knew it was not okay. She didn't like being dropped off. in the
No, I mean,
middle of
we
the area.
didn't, Cheryl didn't know.
There wasn't
about the
communication from the
situation.
staff from the bottom up, right?
Right,
right.
So that sounds like there needs to be better communication on the staff level then.
but if you would tell the staff
Yeah.
that instead of us, something can happen better and faster.
I should
Well,
have
maybe
to
tell
tell
people
people.
to do
I mean, yeah,
No, it's QA and QI, and you have to report to those.
But like
departments.
as an agency, I mean, perhaps there's some sort of thing we can do to get.
There's a process in place that should catch all of these things before they ever happen. That's why I need some specifics to be able to determine how it happened and what to do to resolve it. But it's what he's described should never happen. And the questions that we ask in that process of scheduling a ride, it shouldn't allow somebody to be delivered an hour before they're supposed to be at work.
Yeah, driver could just do something though, right?
No, the drivers have a schedule that they're given.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
so
it sounds like, yep, it sounds like this needs to be worked offline.
Thanks, Cheryl.
Any other public comment? Okay, we will move.
Going down.
Yeah, I know, it is.
What?
Oh, the screen's going dark because nobody's moving.
Oh.
It's dark, don't worry about it.
Okay.
It won't turn off.
We're moving on to agenda build for the July 10th meeting. The only thing I was going to add to that is election of new officers.
I already
except,
have that.
are we doing July?
July.
Yeah,
Yes.
August, okay.
Yes.
We also, at that meeting, we want to discuss the board training. So Special Districts is now doing on-site in-person training. So once a year at least, we want to do board training so that we can, learn something new and, the best way to do things, best practices. So I can provide a list of trainings that are available and we can have a discussion about that then.
We have swearing in of elected officials.
Mhm.
And then the election of board officers, like Sarah said, we also have the yearly review of bylaws and protocols. Paid leave Oregon discussion. If we are gonna do any executive session, I'm not sure if we would have any or not, but that's always up for discussion. And then the board training
Executive session would just be dependent
on
upon
any
progress.
progress.
Yeah.
That's what I have on my list.
I'm gonna miss that part.
Anything else anybody has that needs to go on the agenda for next month? Okay, with that, we are adjourned at 6:55.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you. See you guys all next month.
That was you.
That's my proudest moment and it will go down in history. Well, yeah, it's right there.
Take that too.
Do I get